is a disaster here in Buffalo.
Would you look at that? The damage is done. The cleanup is underway tonight. Severe winds tore up much of western New York yesterday, and it could be a while before everything is back to normal. Good evening, everyone. This is the calm after the storm. You could say some towns saw hurricane-force winds yesterday. We have live team coverage, as you can see on your screen right now, as the cleanup efforts are underway. We'll check in with Jen Shantz and Angela Christoforos, but Andrew Baglini joins me first. Good afternoon. Good evening. I'm not sure what time it is right now. I'm happy to be here. What should we expect for the rest of the evening?
The winds are long gone. That's the good news.
Okay.
And as you said, the cleanup is underway. Unfortunately, we have cold to contend with. It's been chilly the past, say, 24 hours or so, but it's going to get even colder as we head into the weekend. Here's a look at Chautauqua Lake. We started the day off with some sunshine out there, but the clouds have spread through this afternoon, and we actually do have a little bit of snow happening in the southern tier. We'll take a look at that in a moment. But in terms of wind, it's still a bit of a breeze, but nothing like what we saw yesterday. 15 to 20 miles an hour across the Niagara frontier, even less than that south of Buffalo. There's a look at that radar. A little bit of activity going on in Chautauqua County and along the Pennsylvania line. We have some mixed to snow showers. A lot of this will be melting pretty quickly on the ground as we are still above freezing in many spots. But as temperatures back off tonight, we could see a coating across the southern tier. There's a look at temperatures right now. 35 in Buffalo, 38 at the Falls. It's cool, but it's not too bad, certainly. Some low to mid 30s across the southern tier, but we do have much chillier weather on the way. Keep in mind, a lot of folks still without power. If you know anybody without power, and if you can do so, make sure they have somewhere to stay for tonight and the next couple of nights, depending on how long it takes to restore service, because temperatures fall back down into the 20s. That is cold for tonight, but getting even colder throughout the day tomorrow, back into the upper teens by tomorrow afternoon and evening, and that cold is sticking around into the upcoming weekend. For tonight, mostly cloudy with just a spotty snow shower, mainly south of Buffalo, coating to an inch possible, and temps in the mid-20s. Tomorrow, starting off in the upper 20s, but temperatures falling off into the afternoon as we see some snow developing in the morning and afternoon as well. Coating to an inch possible around the metro and a couple of inches in the southern hills. Coming up in my full 4 and forecast, we'll talk about that cold through the weekend, and I'll show you the models. We do have some more snow on the way as we look ahead toward next week. Melina?
Andrew, thank you. The long process of restoring power is underway tonight. Both NYSEG and National Grid still have thousands of customers, as you can see, without power. These are the updated numbers on your screen for the 8 counties in western New York. Utility crews have been out all day trying to get the lights back on across western New York, and they will likely be out there for a while. News 4's Jen Shantz joins us live in Wales, where almost every person living there is impacted. Jen?
Yeah, that's right, Melina. We're here in South Wales now. South Wales and East Aurora were hit the worst in this area, with 80 and 97% of those municipalities at one point, respectively, without power. Now, the home behind me here, you can see the windows are dark. They are without power, as is essentially everyone in this area. Now, I spoke with NYSEG, and they say at this point it's really too soon to tell which municipalities will be fully restored first, but they are keeping track of roads and streets that are being assessed and indicating when they're expected to be restored. You can find all of that information on our website, WIVB.com. Now, we are seeing progress in East Aurora. We were live in front of Dr. Vince Carfagna's home at News 4 at noon today. Line crews were removing some trees that had fallen on his power lines on Center Road, and within about 10 minutes of those crews leaving, his lights were back on after a night without power. Now, that road, which had 115 customers without power this morning, is now almost totally restored, according to NYSEG. Carfagna told us he was preparing for another long night.
There's going to be another night like this. We'll go to the Hampton Inn. We went into town to have a warm breakfast this morning and run another errand. And just before we left, we called them back and told them the lines were down. And no one was here at the time. When we came back just now, they were here working. And I was very glad to see that.
They're very beautiful.
Now, National Grid, who services more of the metro areas in western New York, says it's making some real progress also. I spoke to its spokesperson, Steve Brady, for the company moments ago, and he said within the next 90 minutes they're going to have a clearer picture of a timeline here. So stay tuned and we'll tell you what areas can expect restoration and when that restoration can occur. Again, in the next 90 minutes, we're going to know a little bit more, but this is going to be a multi-day event, so there is a chance that this could affect your weekend. Coming up tonight on News 4 at 5, what local municipalities are doing to help those out who might not have power or might be, without food and water, given the fact that when your power goes out, so does the fridge electricity. So we'll have the latest for you coming up tonight on News 4 at 5, but for now, live in Wales, Jen Shantz, News 4 at 4. Alina?
Jen, thank you for mentioning that, because one thing you can get is dry ice. Put it in a cooler to keep your food refrigerated if you do not have electricity. Also, bottled water is very helpful, of course. You can see those much needed supplies are at these locations on your screen. They are still available until 5 o'clock tonight. We have more information on this as well on our website, WIVB.com. And your pictures of the wind damage have not stopped pouring into our inbox. This one is from one of our photographers showing a snapped telephone pole in Orchard Park. And look at this. One family is at least trying to have some fun with this all. These 3 kids are posing on top of a fallen tree in their grandma's yard. Their mom says they thought it was cool until they found out they had to clean it up. I gotta say, my dog saw a tree down. He thought it was cool until he realized he couldn't have it either. Despite all the damage from yesterday's high winds, some people are counting their blessings. This huge tree fell onto a house in Amherst last night. No one was hurt. The homeowners weren't home at the time. Lockport was hit hard as well. Thousands of people lost power there. Many are still waiting for their lights to come back on.
A lot of down trees, a lot of down, a lot of stuff blown around, garbage cans all over the place, and a bunch of the unforeseen kids' toys that came out kind of early because of the nice weather. There's bikes laying all over the place and things of that nature.
There's no information on getting power back, which I feel is it's like you're on an airplane and you're stuck and they're not telling you anything. If they told you 24 hours, at least it would be interesting, or give you some, back.
They said they couldn't give people an estimate because there's just so much damage. But again, we'll check. People can use generators to keep their home powered up, but police are telling others they might need to prepare to stay somewhere else tonight. A close call. Look at this in Genesee County. No one was seriously hurt when a CSX cargo train was knocked off the tracks yesterday in Batavia in the high winds. The train was going from Chicago to Montreal when high winds caused about a dozen cars to derail. A CSX spokesperson says it's carrying a mix of furniture, toiletries, and food products. Crews have also been spending much of the last 24 hours cleaning up that debris. And remember, you can get the latest forecast in the palm of your hand anytime just by downloading our free Forewarn weather app for your phone or tablet tonight. We are also following these 4 big stories for you right now. A man who beat and strangled the mother of his young son could spend the rest of his life in prison. Raymond Smith was sentenced this morning after pleading guilty to second-degree murder. He admitted to killing his ex-girlfriend, Shaquilla Costin, more than 2 years ago. Smith was on trial but pleaded guilty in January after his lawyer said new evidence came to light.
I think that once we discussed that with Mr. Smith, he decided at that juncture that he had had enough and that he wanted to take responsibility.
I'm glad that it's over, and I'm so sorry, and family can get the rest, Hopefully we can get some rest from this.
Smith was sentenced to 24 years to life in prison. The Niagara County Sheriff's Office needs your help finding this missing 15-year-old. Take a look. This is Justin Clark of Lockport. He was last seen yesterday. He was last wearing gray sweatpants and a gray hooded sweatshirt and tan boots. Call that number on your screen. It's the Niagara County Sheriff's Office at 438-3393 if you know where Justin Clark is. The grandfather of one of the 2 teenage girls murdered last month in Indiana wants answers and is speaking out tonight for the first time. Liberty German and Abigail Williams disappeared while hiking. Their bodies were later found. Authorities released a picture they say German took on her cell phone. We've been showing you this. They're showing this person who they're calling a suspect in the case. There was also that brief audio clip, remember that, of someone saying down the hill that investigators believe might be connected to the murders.
I'm glad she had the wherewithal to do that, and I certainly hope that proves to be the vital piece, that helps bring resolution to this.
If you know somebody who owns a blue coat, if you know somebody who frequents those trails, if you know anything, we're asking for those tips.
There is now a $200,000 reward for information leading to an arrest. It is a crucial week in the battle to replace Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act. The Trump administration is also facing more questions about the president's so far unproven claims that he was wiretapped by former President Barack Obama. Scott McLean has the latest.
President Trump has not offered evidence to back up his bold wiretapping claim. He's also not getting much backup from his vice president, who seemed to duck the question during a local news interview.
Yes or no? Do you believe that President Obama did that?
Well, what I can say is that the president and our administration are very confident that the congressional committees in the House and Senate that are examining issues surrounding the last election, the run-up to the last election, will do that in a thorough and equitable way.
The allegation stems from a series of presidential tweets Saturday morning, accusing former President Obama of wiretapping Trump Tower before the election. The White House press secretary says there's no reason to think the president is the target of an investigation that would warrant surveillance. He's asking Congress to get to the bottom of this.
Let the Senate do their job and the House, intelligence committees, and then report back to the American people.
At least two senators are also looking for answers.
And we sent a letter to the Department of Justice and the FBI asking them for any information that they may have used to obtain a warrant. All I can say is the country needs an answer to this.
Meanwhile, the leading Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee says Trump will be, quote, exposed if an investigation reveals his claims have no merit.
I think what Sean Spicer and the president wanted was to take this spurious claim and try to bury it in a closed hearing in the Intelligence Committee. We're not going to allow that to happen.
In Washington, I'm Scott McLean.
Well, don't go anywhere. Andrew's full forecast is ahead. Also, News 4's Angela Christoforos has a look at the damage across western New York. Angela?
Strong winds leave behind a big mess in Niagara County. We'll show you the damage coming up.